Namaste and hello everyone. This is our 18th show. Those who have joined live, thank you very much. I can already see the feed is live on LinkedIn and YouTube, so that is fantastic. Those who are on YouTube and LinkedIn, let me know during the show, or if you can let me know now, where have you logged in from, how excited you are about the show. Many of you are regulars, so I should start the show with thanking you very much for being very regular on the show. This is episode number 18 in our Qualitist show. Sriram says LinkedIn link is not working. Sriram, I can see that LinkedIn link is working because it is showing live for me, but I will double check while we just initiate the conversation. So I can see the LinkedIn live. There are 30 people already live on LinkedIn, Sriram. So thank you for letting me know. But maybe check in a little bit. It should be okay. So back to the show. There are people on YouTube as well, and I have confirmation that LinkedIn is working. Just these quick logistics checks always. So, like I was saying, this is episode number 18, and this series is really in honor of Dr. James Duran. The word qualitist was coined by Dr. James Duran, and in India and in this region, Dr. Suresh Lula or Mr. Suresh Lula, he's embodied the term and really evangelized it, right? And we as disciples and students of Mr. Lula's work, we are trying to keep the show going, the legacy going. And over the last 1.5 years, so since today is the 18th show, over the last 1.5 years, my friend Balaji and I have been running this show, except for two occasions when one of us was in the show as the guest, right? Those of you who are interested in the previous episodes, and are probably new to the show, you can always check out the previous episodes. An easier way to check the episodes is my YouTube channel because all of them are tagged and shown under one playlist. But if you have a lot of time, you can go through my LinkedIn channel and check all the previous episodes of 18 months. But that I suspect may not be the most efficient way of doing this. So I can see Kavindra Man. Thank you, Kavindra, and good morning. Ashikur Rahman also on the call. Vivekanand, a lot of people joining. Dr. Shweta, thank you very much for joining. Dr. Shweta is a previous guest on the show, so I will bring her name in. And yeah, quite a few people. I'm sorry I can't start the show with naming everybody, but during the show, if you ask a question, we will make sure that we try and bring your question in. So with this, and a quick reminder that those of you who want to check out the previous episodes are welcome to check the YouTube channel. I will during the show leave the address of the YouTube channel as well. And one good news is that the next show onwards, we will be moving to Kimpro's newly made channel as well. So that will be even easier to locate. Okay. With that, I will bring Balaji Reddy, my partner in crime. Namaste. And
Namaste.
hand over to him to introduce the guest to us. And really not a guest. Once we introduce, you will know it's part of the family in many
Yeah.
ways. But for the purposes of today's show, we have invited him more as the featured qualitist, so distinguished one. So over to you, Balaji, to introduce the guest and bring him in and
Yeah,
fire the
sure. I
first
mean,
shot.
more pleasure. So 1.5 years, a year and a half of interviewing Qualitist, and it's also a special day today, Anshuman. It's
Yes.
Dr. Duran's 118th birth anniversary. The 24th
Yes.
of December, 1904 is when he was born. So what a day. It
Correct.
was always,
What
yeah.
a day. And
Uh,
Professor Demings also went by recently. So
yeah,
this,
his passing away. Yes, his
yeah, this,
passing away went by,
uh,
and so here
this.
is Dr. Duran. Uh,
Hmm.
118. So let's get Anirudh Chakravarty up front. Of course, my introduction, the first time I met Anirudh was at the Caltech Awards. It was, I believe, 2012. And I remember, I'll never forget, it was a bit of a comical thing that happened because we always start with the national anthem, right? And the audio file did not work. So Anirudh, got on the mic, and first he said we'll play the audio file, and it didn't work. So he said, "I'm sorry, there's some technical issue. So I think let's sing the national anthem ourselves." And he started singing it. And he was a little off key, I remember, but who cares? It's about the sincerity and not how well you sing it. And that was my introduction to Anirudh. And 2 years later, we celebrated the silver jubilee of the Qualtech Awards, and then we were co-judges. So that was when I interacted. So amazing. So Anirudh, of course, introducing him, more than 25 years of total experience in industry. And 22 out of these have been as a professional, passionate qualitist. He was very insistent, call me a passionate qualitist. So Anirudh, I'm living up to that. And he started his journey in the year 2000 as a qualitist when he uh, acquired the Six Sigma black belt. He's a master Six Sigma black belt in the year 2000. He's certified for Johnson Controls. And if my memory serves me right, Anirudh, either it's the Six Sigma black belt or was it the master black belt that
No,
you did with Michael Harry himself?
no, it was the black belt first. The master
The
black belt
black
was.
belt. Okay, so he was okay. So he did that with Dr. Michael Harry, and he's been a consultant since 2005 with Quimpro. So been with Quimpro and very recently, I think in 2017, he joined KPMG, and now he's with Grant Thornton. So, certified master black belt, just like we said so, and a certified EFQM, that's European Foundation for Quality Management, award assessor and trainer. And he's trained more than 5,000 people in Lean Six Sigma across the globe. He's worked with more than 65 different kinds of organizations, ranging from heavy engineering to power generation to glass, chemical, metals, healthcare, IT, aviation. He's putting us all to shame now. And he's facilitated teams to execute more than 600 projects. And wow, there's a cumulative cost savings of more than 500 crores of rupees. But recently, a landmark project which we have to mention was the National Demonstration Project for Lean in Healthcare under the auspices of the Quality Council of India. Also, is a key technical lead in enabling India's leading renewable energy company to become the world's first renewable energy organization to achieve the EFQM 5-star rating. Anirudh, you have a lot of questions coming up for you. You don't realize this with this kind of a background. So wow, Anshuman, I think we're in August company here. I mean, look at what this
Absolutely.
is.
Anirudh is both physically and work-wise intimidating, to say the least.
Oh
So,
yeah, for those who haven't seen him, he is physically intimidating. He's a giant.
and his work, his work, of course, is significant, especially in the last decade or so. Completely, I would say, blossomed is the word. And I couldn't be more proud because we worked together at some point in time, and so I can definitely add to the introduction you gave, Balaji, that I've known Anirudh since what,
2005.
yeah, maybe a little earlier.
Earlier than that, oh, yeah.
Initially as a student in my class, so and then of course as a colleague and and now somebody I can look up to as well. So I very proud of the journey. Back to you,
Thank you.
Balaji.
Right. So wow, Anirudh, let's fire away now. Get ready on the firing line. So you're a
Sure.
distinguished, passionate qualitist. But we'd like to know about your journey. Where did it actually start? Any initial interest? How did you get into quality? And then, of course, you could cap it up with, we have our favorite question. How did you meet Suresh Lodha?
Ah. Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning, and it's a real pleasure to be the Qualitist of the month and to be on the show. It's an absolute honor that I can't even start to describe how big this occasion is for me, and to be uh, you know interviewed by my mentor, the very first mentor I ever had in the field of quality and quality consulting, Anshuman. My prime reason for becoming a consultant was the inspiration, Anshuman. And of course, Balaji Reddy, with whom I have worked extensively. And I used to always, the first time I saw Balaji, of course, that time Balaji didn't even know me. I was a very small person, a guy in Kimpro who used to do all the event organizing. When he came at the Oberoi, when the first time you came and you spoke about your meeting with Dr. Deming and Dr. Juran when you on a trip to the US. It was, I don't remember the year now. It was something around possibly 2008, 9 or something. I'm not too sure about the year, but that's the first time I saw you, and I was like, wow, what an achievement for a person to have actually met the people whom we think as gods, to have met them in person. So yeah, I've always been in awe of you, Balaji, and for the kind of work you do, the institute you run, it's just amazing. So yes, it's a pleasure to be here, and like Anshuman and Balaji both have mentioned, it's just a wonderful, wonderful coincidence that I am the guest on the day of when the God of Quality was born, and it's today's 118th birth anniversary. So it's blessings from him also that I'm here today. Uh, to start with, um, I think quality was something that always was a part of me right from beginning. I always had this minor OCD of making things to be in the proper order. Right from school days, my books are always in proper order. My notes were in proper order. So anybody who wanted to refer to notes, it always had to be my notes. Even my professors used to take my notes for teaching. So I think that you know. Uh, in Hindi, what they say is that kida for ensuring things are always right, and of course to the irritation of my parents and my sibling at sometimes, that why you always have to be so finicky about everything and everything have to be where they need to be. So I think that was part of me, but of course professionally I was introduced to quality in when I was working with Johnson Controls, and I am essentially a B electronics, and I started my career as a electronics person in the computer hardware industry, and I was in Johnson Controls looking after their IT systems. I was pretty much an IT person, and my induction into quality also is because of Mr. Lulla. So in those days, if you remember, Anshuman, there was something called as IQRS, International Quality Rating Systems, by DNV Norway. And in some flight somewhere, Mr. Lulla met up with my then MD of the organization and sold the concept of IQRS to him. And my MD passed on those books to me because he thought I was the most vela guy in the company. IT करता है और कुछ करता नहीं है. So he told me that why don't you go through this literature and tell me who is the best candidate in our organization to whom I can hand this over to. So 1 week later, I came and told him that you have hit the axe on your own foot. बैल मुझे मार आपने कर दिया है क्योंकि अभी तो मुझे ये करना है, because I clearly remember I told him that this is what I want to do. Get yourself a new IT guy. So he said, "What are you saying?" I said, "No, this is what I have believed in. This is what is my life. This is exactly what I am on about. So it just gels with me as a personality, and this is what I want to do." And I made a very conscious decision in 2000 to completely shift my career from being an IT person to being a quality person. So eventually, of course, Johnson Controls had a new IT person, and I moved on to taking on IQRS as a uh, initiative, as a program. And like Anshuman says, it was then that I was first trained as a AQA by Mr. Lulla, and that was my first meeting with Mr. Lulla Balaji when I went for the AQA training, and I still remember it was at the Taj in Mumbai. And I said, "Wow, if that's what being in quality is all about, then this is where I'm going to be. Trainings in the Taj." So, so that's how the whole journey started, and I was instrumental in implementing IQRS for about a year in Johnson Controls, and then Johnson Controls worldwide adopted the Six Sigma way of life, and every country had to nominate one person as a black belt to be trained as a black belt by Six Sigma Academy, Mike Harry, and his people. And obviously, because I was already into the line of IQRS, my MD said that you continue with this, And that's how the journey began in 2000 by, initially with IQRS and then getting on to Six Sigma, being trained as a black belt, one of the best experiences I've ever had, training in Malaysia. So for the training was spanned over 4 months, 1 week each. And once in a month, go to Malaysia, go to Kuala Lumpur. That was amazing. At my age, when I was possibly just 31 years of age, to be traveling to Malaysia every month, it was something different. And that's where I loved my profession. But I think over the years, I have realized one thing, that this is more my passion. And I think I can consider myself to be one of those lucky few people who have had the fortune to convert passion into profession. Because truly, teaching, mentoring, facilitating, and just communicating the concepts of quality, uh, excellence, is just a passion. It's just that I just can't think of me being anything else. The only thing that I can see, that if I hadn't been here, probably I would have been an actor. And I've done a few things in that also. But this has and always has been a passion within me, to make sure that whatever I do, I always ensure it gets done the right way, and teaching that to others, imparting the same to others through a proper methodology, through a proper approach, whether it is Lean Six Sigma, whether it is 5S, whether it is Kaizen, whether it is TQM, whether it is TPM, doesn't matter. But as long as I am in somehow enabling people to do things the right way, with the right structure, right approach, which guarantees the desired results, I think that what keeps driving me, and that has always been my passion. So my induction in quality was because of the joint combination of my MD at Johnson Controls and Mr. Lulla. And then, having moved from Johnson Controls to Onida, Merck Electronics, that also we were together. And Shuman was doing the training for the people at Merck Electronics. And then the bug bit me, because when in Johnson Controls, I was doing all Six Sigma and improvements for Johnson Controls as the organization, and then for Merck Electronics as the organization. And then it kept feeling me that why should I be bound to an organization and bound to a limited space of where we can use the concepts of Lean Six Sigma and all the other methodologies. And that's where I kept pestering Anshuman. I actually pestered Anshuman to allow me to join Kimpro. And after, I think so, 3-4 times that he shooed me away, finally he found, like he said, the size was a little intimidating, and finally he said, yes, please come in. And that's how in 2005 I had the blessing and the great fortune to join Kimpro, and then for the next 8 years be guided by Anshuman initially, and then Mr. Lulla, of course, who's been, I can't even say, how big a factor, how influencing a factor in my entire build up as a consultant, my entire development as a consultant, is all because of Mr. Lulla. I can't say enough about that. And so that's how it is. In 2013, moved out from Kimpro, moved into DH Consultants, started my own consultancy. So for 2.5 years, I was a freelancer running my own consultancy called Bottom Line Consultants, and finally 2017 is I went into KPMG. So that's been my journey, and Shuman and Balaji. If there's anything more specific you want to know, I'll be happy to share.
No, no, totally loved
No,
it
no, no,
because
this was amazing.
I've been, as you also
Mhm.
mentioned, I've been part of the journey
But
as well. So I know, and you started lying very well. You didn't try it 3-4 times. The first time you mentioned that you wanted, we jumped at you. So, but I'll grant it to you today. You are the guest, so I'll grant it to you. So there are a few messages from somebody you know very well and somebody I know very well. So
oh,
Ghansham Pant is in the
uh,
show.
thank
So
you, Ghanshyam,
uh,
thank you.
much senior to us. He was one of our colleagues at Kimpro for a long time and
Hmm.
very well renowned in this field. So thank you, sir, for joining the show and showing your affection for Anirudh. Uh, Group Captain Sandeep Sarkar, a very popular personality on LinkedIn, appreciates
Thank
your
you.
passion.
Thank
So,
you.
and to the others who some of you have asked in the past about the previous show, so I have put in the chat both in YouTube and LinkedIn uh, links to the previous shows. So, of course, today's show will automatically get into the archive. So you can, if you are watching it next week, you can still use this link to get to today's show as well. Okay, coming back to the show, right? So you mentioned quite a few things, Anirudh. Thank you for that. And those who might not know about IQRS was a DNV, Detnors Veritas product called International Quality Rating System. So it was in the late 90s and early 2000s a very popular global product around rating of quality systems of organizations. So you can say similar to a Baldrige kind of thing, but slightly more prescriptive and scoring oriented. So you could score through it. So a little bit of a lecture I can give because I used to train people. So in fact, the batch that Anirudh mentioned, I was also partly the trainer and I was the examiner.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if Anirudh qualified as an AQA,
It was
I
because
was
of you.
I was checking the exam.
And I still remember when I first joined Kimpro, our first assignment that we had gone to was Vikram Cement, if you remember, Anshuman.
Correct,
Ajit,
correct.
you and me, we had gone to Vikram Cement. And I'll never forget that Ajit and Anshuman kept emphasizing that the induction into Kimpro is that you have to have uh, the chili pakoda. I think one of the stations on the way to the place, and I was like, "Oh, is that the induction? I have to have chili pakoda." And I was such a sincere student at that time. I actually had it, and I can't tell you how it was. That's how naughty this person was.
That was your ragging part, but we'll come back to this. Okay, so I think many in the audience would have already figured out fantastic journey. And what stands out on Anirudh, of course, for both Balaji and me, is that we don't often see or meet people who have had a sustained innings in the field. It takes a lot of dedication, sincerity, lifelong commitment, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, you do introduce yourself as a passionate qualitist. I would add a passionate lifelong qualitist as well because you've been that, right? So my next question to you, building upon Balaji's question, is that while we got a glimpse of all this, surely it is not easy, right? So it is not easy to stick to something. What did you do to, or how did this continued commitment happen? What happened that you've remained in the field, totally committed throughout, continued, sustained the interest in quality? Uh, Anything about that quickly for those in the
Yeah,
audience?
like I said, it's not a profession for me,
Mm.
Anshuman. It's not a profession for me. I don't wake up in every day in the morning thinking I have to go to work. I wake up every day in the morning with the passion, with the drive that I can make a difference to someone somewhere in their, whether it is in their personal life, whether it is in their professional life. So that excitement to be an enabler, to help, I won't say help, but to influence people, and influence the way they work, influence the way they think. And it's a challenge. It doesn't happen easily. I mean, people are quite egoistic, people are quite resistant. They believe that what they know and how they do are the best ways. But to bring that around and I won't say convince, but kind of get into their understanding that yes, there can be something better to do, doing things in a better way. Then that's the drive that really keeps me going. That challenge uh, that I bring on to myself, I would say, or the challenge that is always I'm trying to address that. In what way can I facilitate people to see things differently, to do things differently, and to do things better. So the thing that has kept sustained and the passion that has been going is this drive, to always to be the influencer enabler in people thinking differently, doing differently, and not and I'm fortunate to have had the opportunities right throughout. So it's not that, uh, I think if the opportunities had dried out somewhere in between, maybe I would have thought differently. But my good fortune has been that right all through these years, with the various organizations and various people that I have worked with, the opportunities have always kept coming. So whether it
Yeah.
has been power industry, whether it has been heavy engineering, whether it's been steel manufacturing, whether it's been renewable parts, or somewhere or the other, I've had God, by God's grace, I've had the opportunities available to me right through, and that has what has kept me going.
So well said. I think about the
Sorry.
Yeah. Before I hand it over to Balaji, I just want to add that there is a lesson for all of us in this, and I'm sure in the audience people would have caught this, but I'll re-emphasize that while Anirudh did say as a matter of saying by God's grace, but that God's grace is available to all of us, right? It is for us to take that opportunity and make convert that grace into or the blessing into something useful for us. Whatever be your way of thinking, either you credit destiny or your good fate or God or whatever be your way of thanking nature, the truth still remains that you have to still take that and make something out of it. And that Anirudh has done really well, because if you heard him speak in the last 7 8 minutes, he narrated the entire journey of his quality profession, and you will see that he kept building upon what he was not handed these opportunities. He kept building upon those opportunities, including finding roles which would help him progress his passion. So uh, I keep saying everybody during my coaching session, nothing moves if you don't move, right? So if you are not moving, things don't happen. You can keep blaming or warming the couch or whatever is your poison, but nothing really. And Anirudh is an example for all of us. We draw inspiration, and I hope that people in the audience and those who will watch this show later also will draw that inspiration. And that's one of the reasons why we do these shows, right? Much of what Anirudh is sharing, Balaji and I know, but we don't do
Mm.
this show only so that our memories refresh. Of course, we love that, but it's also because that message and that example that some people who come on the show, very select people are invited. Their message is carried over to you, and some of you, or hopefully most of you, can use that learning, and that becomes a catalyst in your career. So that's a slight addition to what Anirudh said I can do. Balaji, over to you.
Yep, great. So before I ask the question, just notice something, Anirudh. You're wearing the lapel pins on both collars.
Yeah.
There's the Quimpro.
Yes.
There's a
Yes.
Quimpro lapel pin.
Yes.
Wow, that's nice.
Yes.
I'm going to steal that idea. Next time I'm going to wear it too. Okay, one, okay, one.
So
Well,
it's
coming
it's
to the
something I do
question.
for every it's something I do for every Kimpro event. So it's proud to be.
Yeah, Quimpro event, of course, we do that.
Uh,
But
yeah.
I think we should be also wearing the Qualitist badge. I think we owe
Yeah.
Lola sir that much as Mr. Suresh, so we should be wearing that. Right. Coming to this, what we had lined up for you, about our quality profession. I think you've been long enough and seen. I mean, you've moved. Your companies, the cross organizations. But what do you think is the state of the quality profession today? And it's like a three-pronged question, actually. One is, what is the state of the profession today? If you find there's something missing, what do you think is ailing our profession, and what do we need to do to improve it? First of
See,
all, do you feel that there's something wrong? If there's something
yeah,
wrong, then what do we need to?
yeah. It is. Before I answer that question, I'll also say, what keeps me excited and what keeps me going all these years, and will keep me going possibly for the next 10, 15 years till I'm physically able to continue, is the fact that as a quality professional, you have to be flexible and after having done this job for last 20 years, in this forum, I can mention that we more or less know what goes wrong with most organizations. There are those top 8, 10 things, whether it is productivity, whether it is utilization, whether it is downtime, whether it is cycle. No. So we know what problems ail, and we have done that, been there for so many years. So we have most of the answers also available with us. I worked with 7 power generation firms, and today, if you take me to a thermal power generation plant, I know exactly what are the big problems, high level problems that happen, what answers are there for that. But the real fun and the real excitement, the skill is that you have to facilitate those answers from the people. So, what Dr. Juran used to say, and what Ms. Lula also taught me right in the beginning of my professional career as a qualitist, is that as a quality professional, you are a catalyst. And I know most of us would remember, used to always talk about the story of the king and his 17 elephants, right? And Shuman, you remember the story, I'm sure. So I never forget that. And I always remind myself of that I am that person who brought in the 18th elephant and made the equation simple for the king. But then I also took my elephant back. I did not give it away. So as a quality professional, we play the role of a catalyst. We go there with our knowledge, but we remain flexible. We understand the situation of that organization. We adapt ourselves to the situation of the organization and guide the people of that organization to find their own answers. And in every organization, people will find their own answers. Now that's what has kept people coming back to me, because I don't as a consultant, I am not over kind of imposing myself that this is what you do, this is what you're doing wrong, and this is what is right. So that is where today I feel that the art of facilitation is dying away, because people are more coming with preconceived answers, and somewhere the trend of industry also become like this, that when we're talking about the 90s and the 2000s, and even up to maybe the early 2012 13s, the industry as it is was interested in learning and doing. The approach was acceptable to industry, that you come and teach us, you guide us, you facilitate, we will do it. Over the last decade, the trend has been that, boss, I don't have time to learn and do. You come and do what you want to do, show me the results. So, as quality professionals, we are now coming under the hammer for doing for the organization. So we are going with more package deals. This is your problem, this is your solution, you implement it, this is my fee. So I think that art of facilitation, the art of being the catalyst in enabling people to find their own answers, that is dying away. And for both reasons, the provider as well as the user. Today, the management of industries don't have the time or patience to get into a learning mode or put their people into a learning mode. Then they'll say, what have you done as a consultant? You've only come and taught and facilitated, and we have done what we have done. What have you done for us? So I think that is where it is, kind of, and what is happening because of that is, now quality professionals have to get tied to domains. So you are a healthcare specialist, or you are a healthcare quality specialist, you are a steel industry quality specialist. So that domain tag, which was earlier not there, you and me, we are industry agnostic, we are domain agnostic. We can go to any damn organization, from textiles to steels to water to power, anywhere we fit into any organization, because we know the art of facilitating. Today's quality people have to first take a domain background, and then what happens is, taking that domain background creates a bias, because once you have been part of a domain, you know the answers, you know what needs to be done. So as a quality professional, when you turn into quality after being a domain expert, the biases influence you, and you are more uh, providing answers than facilitating. So I think that's where, in my view, the changing trend of the quality professional is from being more of a facilitator, a catalyst, enabling people to find their own answers, to a person providing answers. And that is where, of course, the conflicts, you also know that when someone else is telling you what is the better way to do, you will always resist it. So the whole thing becomes, you know better, I know better. And that's where there are far too many conflicts, and so the brand name becomes more important. So if you are a person talking from a bigger brand, then you are things are accepted. If you're a person talking from a lower brand, then you are challenged. So it's become a more commodity than a real art. And
Mm.
also I think that somewhere that has also led to the people of having the impatience to jump to conclusions, because everybody is looking for answers. So I have a situation, give me an answer. So that art of actually diagnosing things, doing the root cause, getting into data. Of course, there are 100 tools now, data analytics, but that data analytics is more to prove a point than to discover a cause.
prove, prove a point. You want to substantiate rather than to discover.
Yeah, it's that prove
So,
me right through data. I'm saying this, prove me right through data. If I prove you wrong through your data, you don't like it. No, this data is all wrong. You are not doing the right thing. So people want qualities to come and prove that what they're doing is right. If you give a adverse report, you're not a good guy. I'll get someone else.
mm.
So
No,
I
that
think that,
was a that yeah, that's one point you brought up, that they should go into that learning mode and they don't want to do it. But I mean, being a professor now, interacting with students, I see this generation is showing that inquisitiveness. I think they're exposed to a lot more. Unfortunately, these last 2 years, just put them back slightly. But let's see
yeah,
how it all shapes
yeah.
up.
No, see, yeah. So as students, they of course, the students, they want to know everything. But when they go to industry, then they are impatient, because then they are eager to deliver. They want to impress. They want to
Yeah,
prove themselves.
there's some of them who are getting into that startup mode. They want to set up their own.
Yeah, because I interview so many people, Balaji, and for jobs and for even colleges, uh, they want me to come and interview the students, make them ready for facing the corporate interviews. So we do a lot of facilitating of college students, preparing them for their campus interviews. But there also, when we ask questions, how give them a situation, how would you go around understanding the situation, solving the problem. They are more like, okay, this is it. So these are the probable solutions, and we will test out the probable solutions, and whichever solution works best, we will take that. So so the data analytics and all that is getting more to validate solutions rather than finding causes. That curiosity to use data in a discovery mode is not there, which
Yeah, like
which
yeah.
which is really exciting, because we have all, and so many myths get busted. And I if you allow me, I can. There are so many times when using that data has really busted myths, and
Mhm.
that's the real spark, when as a qualitist you can change someone's legacy view or legacy opinion, that this is how it is and this is how it happens. But with the data and with patients, you really can show that it's not that way what you think. And then the spark that you see in there, oh, wow, this is something I never knew. And those are the eureka moments, really. In a steel
Yeah,
industry, they
that was
always believed, yeah. So, like in a steel industry somewhere, they always believed the thickness of the sheet influenced the productivity of the machine. So thinner sheets work faster, thicker sheets work slower. And of course, there's no logic. Machine doesn't differentiate between thick and thin. It's always how you set your settings. And with data, when we proved that 20 years of belief, Balaji, believe me, 20 years of belief that thinner sheets have higher productivity and thicker sheets have lower productivity was busted in 1 week data. and that turnaround and that spark in that plant manager's eyes, I mean, that's what those are the eureka moments.
Wow.
But that
Okay.
tenacity is something that is on the decline. Unfortunately, people more are having higher tendency to jump to conclusions and then prove which conclusion is right.
Sure.
All right.
Fantastic description of what is ailing the profession, Anirudha, and you've seen over the last 25 odd years, 20 plus certainly, how the profession has changed, or and I do believe that some things have actually gotten better. For example, use of data. You did mention
Yeah,
the interest some younger people show in quality, definitely. And in some industries, quality has become pretty much part of the design process and the actual process itself. So in some ways, things are much better as well. And but yes, completely agree with how things have changed. But whenever this kind of a question comes, Anirudh, the next question is also there, that okay, so you are in the hot seat now. How can we, meaning all of us, the qualitist fraternity, people interested in quality or associated with quality, how can we change this? What can we do um, to make everything better for quality as such, right? So because I do believe that, and Balaji and I discussed this earlier as well, that we have a, you know the debt to pay to people like Dr. Deming, Duran, and all. So we've made a living. Our career is based on their teachings. Whatever they said 50 years ago or more, sometimes we are still teaching that and following that.
yeah,
So our career, we are putting bread and butter on the table, or roti and dal on the table for our family based on their learnings, right? So there is
yes, yes,
a debt of that we owe.
yes,
So to and they, it can only be repaid. We can't do anything for them. It can only be repaid in taking the profession forward. What
yeah.
would be your suggestion to do that? And then I will get to some audience questions. Unfortunately, my system has had a glitch, so I will recommend Devraj and Dr. Rajesh, if you can post your question again, please. I am unable to see your question. Uh, some issue with LinkedIn. So if you are still in the show, Devraj and Dr. Rajesh, I do remember you posting questions. I like those questions, but I'm unable to get to those questions now. And I'll certainly bring up the question after Aniruddha has done the uh, this answer.
Right. Sure, Anshuman, and I completely agree with what you say that quality as a concept, as a as an entity in the organization, as a practice in any organization, has definitely evolved over time. What we used to see as QC department 20 years ago doesn't exist anymore. Today, quality is more spread out across the organization. It is built into design. It is built into process, but that is thanks to technology. And because technology is such that you had to people had to make that progression, otherwise you would be out of the race. So that definitely is a good thing, and a very good thing, that instead of people oriented quality, now it has become more process oriented quality, design oriented quality, because technology drives that. What people need to complement this, to complement this, what is important is that people entering into this profession, they are so hooked up on the technology. Technology always had this double side. We always know it has its pros, it has its cons. And while it has served industry, served all of us excellent, I mean, there's no way, technology is a completely different dimension from what we knew in our times and what it is today. But what also that has led is for people to jump uh, the progress, jump the stairs. So the urge is to directly get into technology. Directly, today we talk about RPA, MIAL, automation. So they are more interested in entering those areas and directly working in those areas. but the basic fundamental of process quality, understanding processes and having the ability to decode processes, identify problems in a process, and re-engineer process. So I think some amount of induction, some amount of time spent in basic fundamental process re-engineering should be the foundation, should be the stepping stone for getting into the next levels, which is the technology driven areas. Unfortunately, that's where I say the patience is less, and people really directly want to get into R, Python, and all kinds of technology solutions without creating the foundation of process. And that's where, yes, they will swim across, they will be, but I think internally they struggle more, which they could have, young people getting into industry. My suggestion is always that spend at least a year or two at the max in basic process understanding, process engineering, because once you have your foundation in process, then you can get onto any automation, any tool, and you will see your visibility of that is so much more better. Your thinking process, your thought process in applying the tool to the situation, applying the technology to the situation becomes so much more, because we don't bring technology first and then create a situation for technology. Many organizations that first bring in the technology, then we'll see how we use it, and that's where it all goes wrong. So you first have to create the purpose for the technology and then bring the technology in. Everybody is doing AI. Let us do AI. Where we will use AI, we don't know, but let's get it. Then we'll see where we what to do with it.
That is like a solution looking for a problem.
That's what.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's how the thinking goes. I mean, most of the places I go, what do I do for AI? What do I do for ML? What do I do for RP? I said, first, we don't need them. You just,
This is like
just
the old Hindi movie, Victoria number 203. मेरे पास चाबी
yeah.
है, ताला ढूंढ रहा हूँ मैं.
No, I mean, we have been on the judge panel of so many these Lean Six Sigma projects, and you see that there are slides of using statistical tools. They're using histogram, they're using box plot, they're using integrated plots.
you,
All kind of plots are there. But you ask them, what is that purpose? I mean, what is the
you
no,
remember this,
no,
Anirudh? In one of the thing we asked the question, what was the trigger for this project? He had to answer.
yeah. So now people believe that showing tools, showing technology, fantastic presentation, that impresses. But where is the core? Where was the process? Where it was? What you did about it? That is all kind of in the undergrowth. So if you ask me, Anshuman, from my heart, from being a old school person, I'm as much as an old school as you are. Of course, we develop ourselves and stay in touch with today's technology and keep in touch and keep ourselves upgraded with today's technology. But the basic fundamental of process understanding, process engineering, process analysis, I think without that core, if you're directly jumping the gun,
And
that's where
that
you miss
reminds
out.
me, Anirudh, with your permission, of an example I often quote in some sessions, wherever some discussion of this kind comes, and I ask a question, I'll ask a question to the audience, which is your favorite quality organization and all. And many times Toyota word
Yeah,
comes in. Right? So,
yeah,
so I do ask them, how do you think they build quality in their culture, right? So obviously they are not landing from Mars or Jupiter. They are people with flesh and blood and skeleton like bones like us. So eventually, I'll cut the long story short. Eventually the discussion is that one of the key practices amongst the many is that any new joiner is put on a maintenance or a service job. So you service the car. Once you understand how you interact with the customer, once you understand how to, of course, work under somebody, understand what goes wrong in the car, you repair it with your own hands
hands.
and so on, then you understand, and then you slowly grow up into designing the car. So nobody joins the design the car department uh, maybe till they are 40, because they have to put in those years, and that piece, as you said, is probably missing in many other industries who do want to become the Toyota of their industry, but
But
don't want to put in the effort to
to
get
do
there.
not invest in that, creating that foundation.
With
And like
that,
you said, Anshuman,
sure.
I'll just to add to your point, and that's where I think also I have been fortunate because in my first organization that I joined after graduating as an engineer was CMS Computers,
Hmm.
and that the general manager over there, he said, "You may be an engineer, I don't care, but you have to spend 3 months working in the depot." And believe me, Anshuman, those 3 months that I worked at in the depot doing PCB level repair, and this is way back in 1996, actually
Hmm.
doing PCB, taking a solder iron and repairing a PCB and repairing printers, computers, looking at them inside out, understanding their entire configuration and structure. Then when I went on to become a field engineer, it was a cakewalk. And other field engineers to wonder, यार तू कैसे कर लेता है, हमको तो समझ में नहीं आता है। मैं बोला, 6 महीने जाओ डिपो में बिताओ तो सब समझ में आ जाएगा। बट वो नहीं करना है ना, डिपो में तो कम कम औहदे वाले लोग काम करते हैं, हम तो
Lower
इंजीनियर हैं, हम
class,
तो
lower class
हाँ
people will
हाँ,
do
लेबर
that.
लेबर क्लास पीपल है उधर। तो 1 साल के लिए लेबर क्लास बनो, तो 1 साल के लिए, 1 1.5 साल के लिए आप अगर लेबर क्लास बनोगे तो आपका जो आगे का वर्ल्ड क्लास जिंदगी होगी ना, वो बहुत ज्यादा बेहतर होगी।
Correct. Correct. Okay, time for some couple of questions, and I'm sorry, audience. Because of my technical glitch, some of the questions have reached me later, only now. So we will request Anirudh to quickly try and answer these questions so that
Sure,
we can take more of them, right? So, of
sure,
course,
sure.
all of you know where to find Kimpro, find Anirudh. If you see, Kimpro and Anirudh are synonymous for me, right? So, in many ways, where to find him? He's quite active on LinkedIn. You can reach out to him, follow him, certainly. And if then you have some love left, follow Balaji and myself also. And, Anirudh can answer your questions there as well. Dr. Rajesh Damodaran, also a qualitist, is asking a question. What is the common thread that ensures quality across all industries? So, anything that you think is common, first of all, and if yes, then what would that be? Uh,
Common thread that ensures quality across all industries is, like I said, the intent. I mean, as long as there is a management intent to to really to really do things better, because see, the standard thing is that whenever you do quality, it saves you cost, improves profitability. So those, of course, cost saving and profitability are a common thread. No matter which industry you do quality, you'll always save cost and have better profits in that time. But from a program point of view, it is management intent. As long as management intent is there, no matter what industry you are in, uh, you can always successfully achieve better results through quality approaches.
Well said. One more quickly from Devraj. He's asked a couple of questions, so I'll bring in one of them. Uh, Passion to profession, but passion has to be always ahead of the profession. As a consultant, how would you bring a zoom in and zoom out view while helping an organization to build quality culture?
It is about converting non-believers into believers. So that is the passion. My passion is always to convert non-believers into believers. And my zoom in approach, I will be more into the face, into the picture, more hands on, more with them till they don't start believing. The moment they start believing, I put myself behind, I take my hands off. So if you are really looking at it, when there is a problem, and it has been a legacy problem for a very long time, and the common belief is this is how it is, we don't know, we've tried many things, but nothing much really can happen about it.
Hmm.
So in defining the problem, measuring the problem, till that gray area is in there, is can something happen about it? Is it really okay? We are doing what you're asking us to do, but इससे कुछ होगा नहीं यार.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
when it goes into that spark of analyzing the causes, then the light starts flickering at the end of the tunnel. And once they know the causes, then they know, yeah, these are things that we can tackle. So they start believing. So my journey will be hands-on, more granular, till the point they convert from being non-believers to believers. Once they become believers, then I don't have to do. Then I take myself off. Then it's their journey.
That's a very important insight that and I have always believed that quality is an enabling function. You help, you support, and like you said, you can help and support till a point where the function is capable of doing things on their own, and then it is time to get out of the way.
Absolutely.
So well said. Devraj has another question, but I'll leave that for you to answer over on LinkedIn. And Jayashri has a comment and a question, so I'll bring in the question quickly. Couple of questions around quality 4.0 and all. So I think we don't have enough time to address that, but my general belief is that the fundamentals have not changed,
No.
and quality is still about what it used to be, and at least in our lifetimes might remain the same. 4.0 and 5.0 are, in my view, ways to sell conferences and books.
Right.
Nothing really fundamentally different. And I've been very vocal around in some panels around these. Now, if we live long enough, we might see quality 7.0, 8.0, 9.0, and it will not be different. But back to Jayashri's question, before we move to next one. My query is, Jayashri is asking, her query is, what do you mean by quality in the context of e-commerce quality marketing? Okay. So essentially in the e-commerce, does it influence digital
Yeah, yeah,
marketing, commercial
yeah,
property? Yeah, sure.
yeah,
Over to
yeah.
you.
I mean, e-commerce is one area that we have worked. Flipkart, Amazon. Uh, so see, at the end of the day, when you talk about quality, what is quality? Quality is about delivering to the customer what the customer expects, what the customer needs, and facilitating that to happen. So whether it is the last mile delivery, or it is an on-time delivery, or customer returns, or even uh, the ease of scrolling on the front page, what kind of product should be put on the top half of the page, what comes with how the pricing structure should be there. So here it is a mix of business decisioning with quality, and the quality aspect is to enable the customer to see their preferred product lines right up front. And from a user interface point of view, when you open up the landing page, you should be able to see the entire dashboard of your preferred products, what you want to see, where you want to go to for what you want. So while there's a technology in designing that, but the intent behind it is the quality drive is to enable the customer to get what they prefer easily visible. And of course, the second part of it is the back office processes. There's a lot of back office processes in e-commerce, in terms of order confirmation, order delivery, the product quality. So yes, as much as in any other service organization,
Sure.
uh, the customer serviceability is definitely where quality comes in, and product delivery is the other thing.
Thanks, Anirudh. Manikandan is a regular at our show, and a very distinguished quality professional in his own right. Is asking about any input for QC to QA when organization transform from startup to ramp up. Yeah, so in the startup context, his question basically means that how do we move from QC to or control to assurance in the startup environment? So starting startup to ramp up. Anything around this?
Again, it is always going to be driven by business intent, because there is always a struggle that let us cover up the cost, let us cover up the investment first, and then we'll think about the rest. So first, let's make the business viable, and then all this thing like quality and all that can come in. The other is that if you start with assurance, then it may just take a little longer time, although I'm not really no, confirming to that, but it may just take a little longer time. But at least you will be more confident of making a business viable. So it's always that chicken and egg story, Anshuman, that whether we start with it or we start after we have uh, become something. And my point of view always has been that you start with it, start from the beginning. The life cycle may be a little longer, but at least it is assured.
So we are almost on time, and always look forward to comments by Devraj. Devraj is a previous, guest on this show. So thank you,
Yes, good
Devraj, for
afternoon.
attending and of course leaving some words of encouragement. Jayanand Acharya and quite a few others, Dr. Rajesh himself and others also. So thank you very much for your comments, and quite a good audience today, Anirudh. In spite of us being a
Thank you.
little worried that this is pre-Christmas and people may not turn up and all, I am happy to inform that we had significant presence compared to previous recent shows. So
Thank
obviously
you.
you have a fan following, and both Balaji and
My,
I joined that fan following today. So thank you very much. I know very insightful discussion. Of course, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, but this format was slightly different for me. When you and I talk, I end up talking more. So this time I didn't have that privilege. So thanks for that. Very proud to see how your thought process has grown and now how you have been able to help others. That is more important. All of us in the field, where will we take all this knowledge and experience if we can't help others while we are still
absolutely.
able to, right? So
Absolutely.
I don't want to be around at 75 when I can't really help people. I would rather help people now and do what I can at 75, right? So we'll
Yeah.
get there,
We
but do
get
what
it.
I can, but we can start today. So I have seen that spirit throughout the discussion in you, Anirudh, and totally appreciate. Both Balaji and I are extremely grateful for your time. With that,
Thank you.
a couple of quick reminders for the audience. We could not, of course, take some questions for reasons of time, and we are actually above time now. None of us likes to go beyond time, but we are a little above time today. Apologies for that. But the questions that remain unanswered,
Yeah,
Anirudh
we'll,
will take some time off and check the LinkedIn page,
yeah.
so or the YouTube.
Uh,
Uh, and another reminder for everybody is that the links that you used to join the show remain the links for the recordings. I get a lot of inquiries later on that where is the recording? Recording is on the same link that you used to join the show, or received as a prompt from either me or others during the show. So I received a couple of questions because of that technical glitch we had for some time. LinkedIn was not showing up the questions. So Anirudh, I'll share those questions with you
sure.
over email. I received them on messaging, which I just noticed. Not enough time now to cover them. With
No
that,
problem.
Balaji, any closing comments? You are the wiser of the three of us, so
Really?
we we decide that. So we'll leave that to you. Anything you wanted to add?
No, great learning experience. I mean, someone who has had, the good fortune of learning from uh, people, originally involved in the field, and of course having this vast experience, and then sharing that with us. I think that's the important bit. And of course, we're seeing where the whole profession is headed. I think we're leaving with a good sense of optimism that there will be something. I think that's why we're here. Right? We come to work every day for that reason. We want to take this forward, and hope that the future generation has listened to this. And because you're going to take things forward.
Thank you,
I
Balaji.
think
Thank you. Thank you so
I
much.
think
It was a
that's been
pleasure being on the show. And it is a little nervy to be, talking to the future generation. So, like, we are already of the past generation. So that, वो थोड़ा
yeah.
सा
The sooner we come to terms with that, the better it is.
that,
I can
but
tell
thank
you
you.
that that
Uh,
feeling is there always. Anirudh, my son is now, around
yeah.
2021, and
Ah,
he
so
sometimes talks of his juniors as the they, like it
they,
is some 10-year old. So that feeling is always there. Don't worry about
uh,
it.
uh,
We are happy to learn from you and
uh,
share. So I'll end the show here. Thank you
sure.
once again,
Thank you.
Anirudh.
Thank you.
Balaji
Thank you.
and I have been grateful on
Pleasure.
behalf of Impro Foundation. And if
And
you those in the audience, if you are celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to all.
Certainly, whether you are celebrating or not, in a week's time, New Year will be around. So, Happy New Year to you as well, all of you, and to your families. Stay safe, stay healthy, um, have fun. But just a public service reminder as well: COVID is not over, and as part of my function, I have to remind everybody that be careful, particularly in this festive, joyous season. While you may step out to have some fun, it it is important to stay careful. Show will be back in January, most likely 22nd of January, same time, which is a Saturday, and guest and the timing and details will be available later. With that, thank you very
Okay,
much,
thank
and
you, everybody. Thank you for joining. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
thank you.
Absolutely.